There exists a version of you that must be left behind, not in a physical sense, but through a profound spiritual, mental, and emotional shift. This is the part of you that is enslaved by comfort, avoids uncomfortable truths, and fights against change. If you do not actively dismantle this version of yourself, it will inevitably kill your potential. The true tragedy in life isn't failure. It's the refusal to evolve. It's the decision to be content with being better than average, while remaining a vast distance from becoming truly exceptional. Growth isn't a passive process. It's a constant battle against the parts of you that would rather settle for mediocrity than rise to greatness. You must be willing to let that old self die so that the new, more powerful you can emerge. Growth is not a matter of luck or a happy accident. It's a duty. It won't happen when it's convenient for you. It happens when you demand it of yourself. You must intentionally force yourself to outgrow your past self. That old version of you was built for survival, shaped by fear and tolerated by your past, but it has no place in the future you want to build. Simply dreaming of a better life isn't enough. You must transform into the person who is capable of living that life. This process of becoming is a challenging, almost violent one. It requires real sacrifice, a willingness to endure discomfort, and a daily war against the parts of you that prefer the path of least resistance over the pursuit of excellence. The war against the old self. The person you are today is not the person who can achieve the success you desire. That complacent, uncertain, and distracted version of you must be systematically broken down. This isn't a gentle process. It requires dismantling old habits, exposing excuses, and completely rewriting your story. If you want a new life, you must be willing to let go of the identity that's addicted to the old one. This transformation won't feel like smooth progress. It will feel like pain. But you must not fear this pain. It is the sound of your limitations being shattered. It's the scream of your old self resisting extinction. Let burn. Let go. This pain is necessary because your higher self is waiting to emerge, ready to step forward the moment you stop protecting and nurturing the weaker version of yourself. To transform your life, you must actively kill off your old self and build a new one. This process is a daily choice, not a one-time event, and it is defined by the following shifts. The old you are to wake up late. The new you dominates mornings. The old you is controlled by comfort and convenience. He hits the snooze button, starting his day in a state of reaction and haste. The new you, however, understands that mornings are a sacred battleground. He wakes up early and intentionally, using the quiet hours to focus on his vision, exercise his body, or plan his day. He doesn't let the day happen to him. He dominates it before it even begins. The old you avoids responsibility. The new you seeks it out. The old you sees responsibility as a burden, something to be feared and delegated. He looks for shortcuts and easy paths, avoiding the heavy lifting that leads to real growth. The new you sees responsibility as an opportunity. He knows that true power and freedom are found in accepting difficult challenges. He actively seeks out new responsibilities because he knows they are the very things that will sharpen his skills, forge his character, and move him closer to his goals. The old you escapes through distractions. The new you pursues discipline with obsession. The old you is constantly seeking an escape from discomfort. He wastes time on social media, binge watches TV, and gets lost in unproductive noise. These distractions are not harmless. They are a slow poison that kills his potential. The new you sees discipline not as a restriction, but as a tool for freedom. He becomes obsessed with the process of self-mastery, choosing focus over fragmentation and intentional action over mindless scrolling. He understands that discipline is the only path to a life of true purpose and meaning. You will never reach your full potential while you are still burdened by the corpse of your past identity. The old habits, limiting beliefs, and self-defeating excuses that hold you back. You must consciously and consistently bury this old self. This isn't a one-time event, it's a daily ritual. You bury him every single day. You choose intention over impulse, making deliberate, purposeful decisions instead of reacting to fleeting desires. You bury him every time you force yourself to move when you don't feel like it, because true discipline is acting despite your mood. And you bury him every time you do the necessary work without any applause or external validation, driven by your internal purpose alone. This continuous act of letting go is where true growth is found. Not in comfort or motivation, but in the friction and resistance between the person you are right now and the person you are relentlessly becoming. The betrayal of the lower nature. Stop demanding an easy path. The desire for easy is the comfort food of failure. It provides temporary relief, but leads to long-term weakness. Instead, you must crave truth, challenge, and the kind of pressure that forges character. Your future self, the person with power, peace, and purpose, is not something you have to create from scratch. He is already within you, but he's trapped. He's suffocating under the weight of your current habits, silenced by your excuses, and screaming behind your distractions. You're the only one who can free him. This is not accomplished with wishful thinking or empty promises, but with consistent, daily, disciplined action that proves you're serious about your transformation. You cannot achieve new heights while remaining loyal to who you've been. That unthinking loyalty to a comfortable, familiar identity must be broken. The version of you that settles for mediocrity, hides from difficult challenges, and hesitates in the face of opportunity must be betrayed. This is not an act of self-sabotage. It is an act of liberation. That old self has been betraying your potential for far too long, choosing short-term comfort over long-term growth. To rise, you must declare war on this lower nature. This means you must make your old habits so uncomfortable that they become unbearable. Your excuses, once your crutches, must become unacceptable. You cannot tolerate old, self-defeating patterns. Stop trying to improve that old version of yourself. He was never built for the success you desire. Instead, you must ruthlessly replace him with a new identity forged through brutal, disciplined, and intentional growth. This is a complete overhaul, not a small upgrade. Change will inevitably come at a cost, demanding that you sacrifice your comfort, your pride, and your laziness. These are the payments required for growth. However, the price of staying the same is infinitely higher, costing you everything that truly matters: your purpose, your peace, and your potential. There is no right moment to begin this journey. The perfect time you're waiting for simply doesn't exist. The only right time is the moment you decide to begin. You must decide now that you're finished negotiating with your limitations. Decide now that the old, weaker version of you no longer has a vote in your life's direction. Your life will no longer be dictated by how you feel in a given moment, but by the intentional decisions you make. This choice is the beginning of all real change. Outgrowing the past. The old version of you was not a deliberate creation. It was an accident. It was formed by habits you didn't consciously choose, beliefs you inherited from your environment, and pain you never fully processed. The new version of you, however, will be forged by design. This new self is not built in the spotlight or through shortcuts. He is meticulously constructed in silence, his resolve sharpened through solitude, and his rise is not a matter of luck. He rises because you are willing to do the hard work, to be misunderstood by those who don't see your vision, and to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever did. This path of intentional self-creation is the hallmark of all great men. They don't just grow, they actively outgrow their past, outlast their weaknesses, and out-discipline their distractions, shedding their old selves to become someone new entirely. This is not reinvention. This is resurrection. It begins with a decision. I will no longer live in the shell of who I used to be. Every day you hesitate, the old you wins. Every time you surrender to comfort, you give him one more day of life. Enough. The world needs you. The real you, the focused, fire-breathing, risk-taking version of you who no longer waits to be chosen because he has already chosen himself. You must develop an intolerance for your excuses, an allergic reaction to your old patterns, a disgust for stagnation so deep that the thought of remaining the same becomes unbearable. That's when the shift happens. When you stop desiring growth and begin demanding it. Do not merely upgrade your habits. Overhaul your identity. Stop calling yourself a man of potential and become the man who executes, who finishes, and who embodies transformation. The old version of you doesn't leave quietly. He claws, he bargains, he rationalizes. You must not negotiate with your old self. Starve him. Ignore him, and replace him with new rituals, new beliefs, and new standards so strong they choke out the weakness you once called normal. You do not need more information. You need immersion, complete, radical immersion into the life you were meant to live. The most powerful version of you has always been there, waiting not for luck or rescue, but for you to finally stop apologizing for your hunger. This entire journey is about removing everything that isn't you. The fear, the excuses, the laziness. Now that you know, you can never go back. You may falter, but you do not retreat. There is no going back. There is only up. The man who waits for transformation to happen to him will wait forever. Transformation is not granted. It is taken. You are not born to die in mediocrity. Your purpose is to build something eternal. For this to happen, the foundation must be entirely new. That means the man you are must be new, your habits must be new, and your commitment must be absolute and unwavering. Remember, the path to greatness is not easy. Hard is the path to heaven. Growth is discovered in resistance, not comfort. Strength is forged in struggle, not ease. Mastery is a product of relentless repetition, not a lucky break. And true greatness is reserved for the person who is willing to bury his former self without ceremony, letting go of his old identity with no regret. That man, that builder in new life, is you.